Oh yeah, SMT Nation, what's happening? Yeah, that 10 is so lit, man. Got the Eurythmics. Always on the instrumentals, man. Best beats on the net. Check out at 10 is so lit on Twitter. chosenbeats.club. Solid, man. And I see a lot of us already in here. I see you. Let's see who we got. I see Baby Yoda. Brennan, good to see you. You're here early, holding it down for me. Appreciate you. Kimon, good to see you as well. Glad you could make it. Kathy, hashtag Mod Squad. Michael is here. The homie Alex is in the house. Alcareal G. Check out the YouTube channel. As real as a $2 bill. Greg's in the house. Sean. Josh. Good to have you both. My brother Sebi's here. Holding it down. My brother Jose is here. Appreciate you, bruh. As a matter of fact, I have no idea how this has not happened yet. But my brother Jose, you have been knighted, sir. Como se dice knighted in Espanol? Holla at your boy. Adrian is here. Arshan is in the house. KJ. Finny. Max. Info assistant. The brother with Firewolf Studios is here. Arturo, good to see you. Man, there's a lot of you guys. Wow. Texas Marine is here. Brother Subwoofer is here. Jarrett. Garen. Keon, what is up, my dude? Tito just made it in. Nice. Caleb in the house. Let me just give everybody, anybody who's a mod. If there's somebody in the live chat that is out of line, there's nothing to talk about. You just get them out. Just get them out. What's up, Chucky? Yeah. Nah, not that kind of knight. I mean, I knight you as in like you're a knight in shining armor. You get the Excalibur. Form Voltron. Sean, Angel. Wolfer, what is up, man? Nah, you're good, bro. Alright, y'all. Let's bring the music down a notch, man. Let's do this. Yeah, the SMT Podcast. Good to have you all. Alright, so here's what we're going to do with tonight's show. And I do want to throw in a couple of things here. we do have an audio-only version of this. So if you like the podcast, and you're not necessarily partial to having to view it, you just want to listen, we're on all the major podcast apps. There are links in the descriptions for all of that. We're on Apple, we're on Google, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, the whole shebang. Everywhere. Check it out. Caballero. Luchador. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Didn't know I knew how to speak that stuff, did you? I don't know if I'm on Amazon, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. Good to have you, No Radio. Appreciate you stopping by, man. I don't know, Angel. Not sure if I'm on there. Appreciate you, Adrian. Thanks for coming by, man. All right, so with today's show, I first want to say welcome to Qais and Jack, newest members of the Patreon page. They both came on here in September, so we want to welcome them formally. Glad to have you, and it's a pleasure. For those interested in maybe getting additional access, take your SMT Nation community interactions to the next level. There's a link in the description for it. And you get early access to videos, unique, content. I upload exclusive videos. Also, we do podcasts and live streams there that are exclusive to Patreon. So if you like what the YouTube channel brings to the table and you want more of it, that's how you can do that. So we have got about like 91 patrons and growing. So we're very excited about the direction of the Patreon page. Man, it's good to do the podcast midweek. Usually it's end of the week, but let's do midweek, right? T-Mobile news in this one. They were the executives were speaking at the Goldman Sachs conference today. Also Verizon. We'll talk about that as well. We got some buffering going on. YouTube having issues? I don't know what to do about this YouTube situation. It's been really crazy lately. Well, I'm glad we're back. All right, it's fixed. Yeah, I don't know. It's been crazy lately. Crazy. I'm glad it kind of fixed itself out. That's good. Stopped for now. Exactly, Kathy. All right, but it's good to be back on track here. So we'll talk the T-Mobile tower installation agreement that they have with American Tower. That should be solid. I do have some commentary. I want to give you some objectivity on that deal. It's a big deal, but it's not. I know it sounds like it doesn't make any sense, but it does, and I'll try to kind of frame it right for you guys. Anyways, I will be recording this, obviously, for the audio-only podcast, so I'll go ahead and get that started now. So, story number one. I'm actually going to start with Verizon. All right, Verizon and TracFone. This deal happened early this week, and I did some commentary on it. I did a video for it. I definitely wanted to cover it, make you guys aware of the deal, and discussions have been ongoing about, how is this going to play out? What is Verizon going to do in the prepaid market, and how's the network access going to be, and are customers going to have an improved network experience? What about the pricing, such and such, all of that. I want to look specifically at one aspect of the Verizon and TracFone deal, and that's the network, because this really is, it's a network channel here on the YouTube side. It's a network podcast. So it's, it's good to look at it from that perspective. So Hans Vestberg, the CEO of Verizon, was asked about network traffic and how the network was going to perform following the acquisition of TracFone. It's true. TracFone does have 21 million subscribers, and they need network access. It's also true that 13 million or more of those customers are already on the Verizon network. So really what it is there's about 7 or 8 million customers that are either on T-Mobile or AT&T. And from what I understand, I think the AT&T customers make up about 3.5 million, and the T-Mobile customers make up about 4.5 million. So collectively, it's like 7 or 8 million. Jose, appreciate the super chat. Thank you for that. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So it's not 21 million coming over to the Verizon side on the network. It's 21 million, under their ownership group per se of TracFone. But it's 8 million new subscribers onto the network. So that seems like a lot. 8 million. That's going to affect, user experience in certain markets. It makes sense, right? You would think that that's the case. But when asked about this, Hans Vestberg said, the network is ready. He said the network is not even going to skip a beat. He spoke glowingly of his engineers, and he spoke very highly of his network team. And really, when you think about it, outside of Spectrum, that's in the millimeter wave holdings, right, that Verizon has, they haven't really done anything with Spectrum in years. They've been optimizing their network in pretty much every other aspect. So they haven't added new spectrum outside of millimeter wave. There's no new mid-band. There's no new low-band. Nothing like that. They did refarm Band 5 from 3G to 4G LTE a few years ago. I want to say it might have been maybe 2017 or 18. I think 18, actually. And that helped quite a bit because when you integrate 5 megahertz or 10 megahertz of spectrum that wasn't on LTE at the time, I mean, it made a difference. I mean, Verizon was starting to kind of bog down a little bit in the CLE. As soon as they added that spectrum, did that refarm process, it was back to good old Verizon speed. So they've done other stuff. They've upgraded and optimized software. They have encouraged and achieved device upgrades for their customers, really encourage them to buy newer phones, which helps because you get more carrier aggregation, you get more capable devices with MIMO technologies and stuff like that, advanced LTE features. You get customers out of the old devices that can only do so much. So when you get them in the newer devices, they could do more with those connections. It definitely enhances the usability and the speeds and so on. Let's not forget that Verizon is the king of densification. They put a tower site basically everywhere they can. Like, Verizon is just known for that. That's one of the ways they've been able to offset a lot of the network congestion and traffic problems on the data side. So it's not just spectrum. Everybody makes a big deal. Oh, the spectrum. You could have spectrum in spades, but if you don't have the tower sites, it's not going to get it done. So that's what Verizon has done to upgrade. And that doesn't even mention the backhaul upgrades they've done, the actual fiber lines that connect the towers to internet usability. They've upgraded that all over the U.S., and there's more of that coming. So whatever they're doing, it shows and it's working because the Root Metrics report is... They won so many of the different metrics in so many of the different markets across the nation. So see Root Metrics half one 2020 results. Verizon dominated. They have 120 plus million customers on their network. And in my estimation, they seem to be doing something right. So Verizon says they're not going to necessarily have to allocate any new CapEx to support the network specifically due to the TracFone deal. Hans Westerberg said, hey, our network can handle it. And I think he's right. When you think about the geographics, when you think about the customer usage, I don't think there's any possible future concerns. I just don't see it. I don't see why Verizon should make any type of hasty network moves or any type of specific initiatives to support the network just because they're adding 7 or 8 million customers to their network. I think they'll be fine. Now, when it comes to actually getting those customers migrated from the T-Mobile and the AT&T access, I think what's going to happen is we can expect a phased approach to those migrations. Meaning, you're probably going to see like 3 or 4 million customers moved at a time from TracFone access that's not Verizon. So those 8 million customers that are on AT&T and T-Mobile, they're probably going to be transitioned in those like 2 phases or something like that. And that should ease any concerns that could potentially cause issues, overload and stuff like that. So, expecting that phase approach, I mean, AT&T's got 3.5 million customers on their TracFone provisions. T-Mobile's 4.5 million. Literally what they could do is Verizon could just one day transition AT&T access customers, and then another day transition the T-Mobile customers. And boom, you got yourself your migrations completed. And I don't know if that's like exactly how it's going to go. I'm just saying it makes sense to do it that way. Or they could take each of the companies and then split those into 2 migrations. I don't know. Seems like it would work. Don't ask T-Mobile how to do migrations, because, man, that's been an ongoing issue, and they've had some problems with network outages. So, and who knows, maybe Verizon has problems with it when these migrations happen. You never know. Could happen. Goes to show you that, everything we take for granted on network operations, we think it's easy and stuff happens in a snap of a finger. It just doesn't work that way. So we shall see. Anyways, from what I understand, this Verizon-TracFone deal appears to be part of the Verizon 2.0 strategy, in which Verizon is expanding its portfolio beyond postpaid wireless. So we're talking about their 5G network build-out. We're talking about their media. We're talking about the continued excellence in 4G LTE, home and business offers, residential as well as enterprise, the dominance amongst all of those network components, and then now we've got prepaid, something they've never done before. They've never taken prepaid seriously, and I think this instantaneously makes them a real competitor in prepaid. I mean, think about it, right? They've never really given Verizon prepaid any special attention. No promotion, no commitment to space within their stores. This has never been their thing, right? And now here they are in one fell swoop, scooping up 1/3 of the prepaid market. And it's this MVNO TracFone. And they got a crazy good deal. They really did. Right? They're paying somewhere in the neighborhood of like $6.5 billion for 21 million customers, which I think it's worth it in and of itself. But whatever other assets, they got it. And they're probably not going to fire anybody. They're probably going to leave the business alone for a while. It's just expanding their portfolio, bringing in additional revenue. Maybe they're not the most profitable customers, but they're customers. And in building out a network, you need money to spend. So I think that's how they're viewing it. And it just, builds on the business that they have pre-existing. I'm glad they're finally getting involved with prepaid. It's been too long since they haven't given it any attention. I know they're starting the whole visible thing. They pushed a little bit during the whole pandemic and stuff like that. But now I think they take it more seriously because of all that market share. You can buy flowers that start out as seeds, or you can buy them fully in bloom. And I think that's what they did. They basically bought fully in bloom flowers, Just my 2 cents on that, and I don't think there should be any issues moving forward with Verizon and TracFone. Yeah, the Vids for Fun, you talk about the longer you stay, the less you pay promo. Yeah, they're starting to do a little bit more, which is good to see. Chucky, my dude. 199 super chat says TracFone users, not heavy data users. Very true. But some of their services they are. Some of the services they have, I think they are. Like some customers use like 25 gigs of data and stuff. But yeah, overall, I think you're right. Right? Overall, I think it's true. I don't think they are heavy data users. Heavy data user to me is somebody who uses more than 50 or 100 megs per month or 100 gigs per month. To me, that's heavy usage, right? So I agree with you. Absolutely. Let's take a look at this next story. This one's pretty cool. So let's stay with Verizon and let's take a look at their next network move. They're really doing a good job of building out millimeter wave. It's hard to do. It needs a lot of money. It needs a lot of nodes. It takes a lot of labor, a lot of planning. It takes time. Their 5G millimeter wave network will not be complete for a long time. It's an ongoing project that's nowhere near completion. In fact, to say it's in its infancy stages is an understatement. It's very early for millimeter wave. The technology has improved, but knowing that you have to put a node every other block, it's a very difficult deployment. So that has not stopped Verizon from finding ways to make their network amazingly good indoors. So Verizon is taking millimeter wave access inside. So the way that it seems like Verizon's trying to frame this is when all things kind of go back to normal and there are huge collections of people, like, concerts and NBA games and NFL games and all of that, they've got all this millimeter wave access all over these arenas and stadiums, and in them too. Verizon's going to be doing this more and more moving forward in the future. So what they're doing is they're setting up indoor 5G millimeter wave sites. And what they've done is they've inked a couple of deals and made some testing and some trials and put together some proof of concept work with Samsung and Corning, these two companies. Now, the Samsung deal, that's no surprise. They've had a deal with Samsung. It's been several weeks. The Corning deal is interesting, too. This is a company that, is also a hardware provider for network access. They've been involved with Verizon already. They have a pre-existing relationship. We know about Ericsson and Nokia as well. Nokia is kind of getting phased out. So, that kind of sucks to suck or whatever. But Ericsson is big and Samsung is big. So we're expecting a commercial deployment of indoor millimeter wave 5G from Verizon as early as next year. And they're talking about Corning being the first provider of the hardware and deployment, and then Samsung right behind them. Now, Verizon's got a deal with Samsung already that's pre-existing. So what's interesting about this deal is they've got the deal with Samsung for $6.65 billion over 5 years. $6.65 billion over 5 years. That's one provider, right, of hardware and infrastructure. They've got a deal with Corning. They've got a deal with Ericsson. So there's a lot going on in terms of supply for Verizon. Corning obviously must be further along than Samsung in this technology. I see Caleb's comment. He said, Corning is the best supplier for fiber infrastructure, period. I know, I used to do fiber for Verizon. Can't beat that with a stick. Nothing but the best. Now, the details of the trials and that proof of concept of this working, right? The first thing is they're saying that the trials were using 28 gigahertz frequency spectrum. That's N261, so millimeter wave. It's going to be really freaking fast. I can tell you guys, I've tested this stuff. I've got videos covering millimeter wave. It's 1,000 megabits per second plus every time. It's 1.5 gigs. It's 1.3 gigs. We've got speed tests within the community. Carlos S. Tech has gotten over 2 gigabit speed. This stuff is amazing. Millimeter wave is a transcendental technology. It's not perfect, but it shows the most promise for 5G. Low band is not going to change anything for anyone. Mid band is going to be good for sure once that mid band becomes available. But right now, if Verizon can continue to build out really, really fast and get this into more markets, people can take advantage of it because they're going to put it indoors and they're going to put it outdoors. Healthcare facilities, manufacturing facilities, education, so think college universities and high schools, retail usage, enterprise and business. The list goes on and on. Any type of establishment could utilize millimeter wave. It is not just for one type of person or a few types of people or under one condition. Verizon's forcing the issue. They're going to make this ubiquitous. They're going to make this everywhere, right? So Verizon's already got technologies on deck to make millimeter wave better. They're going to be using Pivotal and Movandi for repeater technologies, which will improve the propagation, how well the signal millimeter wave can transmit. Like the ability of the signal to be higher quality, which will improve connection and speeds and all of that. All of this, all these new technologies, all this hardware will be fully accessible for the Verizon network by the end of 2020 and already baked in throughout many different cities in 2021. I think CBRS also becomes a piece of this as well, and that'll be on the LTE side. So Verizon's not just doing 5G work, they're doing LTE work too. All right, so this is awesome. I'm very excited about this. I think AT&T and T-Mobile would be smart to look into these technologies as well. There's no way they shouldn't be. I know T-Mobile, talks about mid-band and all that, and that's great and all, but you cannot neglect a really important future technology. Nah, there ain't going to be no data caps on this stuff, man. We're talking about 1.5 gigs per second, 2 gigs per second. Some markets have 800 megahertz of spectrum. And there's going to be 3 and 4 gigabit speed. So, speed caps will be a thing of the past anytime you're connected to millimeter wave. I mean, already, Verizon has committed, if you go to the website, I mean, I've got lines with the access. There's an infinity sign whenever you're connected to millimeter wave. They don't count data on connected to millimeter wave, so it's freaking awesome. Love it. Really looking forward to that technology improving. All right, so that I think that kind of wraps up the Verizon stuff, with the exception of one more thing. It looks like, and this, I was actually surprised by this. Verizon was commenting. Hans Vestberg was speaking at today's Goldman Sachs conference, and he said that more bundling is coming. Whoa, more bundling? Verizon just dropped a bombshell a few weeks ago. All right, Chucky Riggs, thanks for the $1.99 super chat. He said, remember when T-Mobile was trash talking LTE? I wouldn't expect anything less, man. That's just what they do. So Verizon just dropped this ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, this bundle, this Hulu. They did all of this out of nowhere, right? And apparently Hans Vestberg said, that's not it. We're going to be doing more of this. So the Disney Plus bundle deal may be kicking down doors and just busting out the floodgates. Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus might be the tip of the iceberg, and it could be the beginning of more third-party relationships and service bundles at Verizon. Well, I think that's fantastic. Verizon's doing very uncarrier things. See, there are people that get mad when I say things like Verizon does uncarrier things. But when they come out and say there's more bundles coming, and when they come out and say things like we're going to continue to improve the value proposition for customers and give them more, that's uncarrier-like. Nobody else is doing that in the wireless market right now. Verizon is. So I've ridden Verizon really, really hard. Prior to 2018, really, really hard. The business practices, the customer care, the issues and stuff like that. But they're doing much more now. You're giving people tons of value, right? And he's going to be gaining market share because of these strategies. It's very, very smart of him to do this. That seems to be the way to go in wireless, is to give the customers more, make them feel like they're getting a great value in the service. CEO Hans Vestberg is considering these additional bundles and doing so in a different model, different packages. He already said that even if you have an old Verizon plan, you can get the new Disney Plus bundle for $6. Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus, and Apple Music for $6. And you don't even need one of the newer plans. You could have your old 2005 plan. You could have your old 2017 plan, $6. Pretty good. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table, honestly. I can't wait. Chucky talks about Apple One. I think that's a possibility. Thank you for the super chat, brother. I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, they've got a relationship with Apple. They got Apple Music already, right? Makes total sense. Expect Verizon to do something with Apple. Expect Verizon to continue to offer things through Disney. That relationship is going to be huge moving forward. It's true, Jay. T-Mobile's not in a position to do this right now, so can't be mad at them for not being a part. All right, next story. Actually, that's a good pivot. All right. So story number 3, let's take a look at some T-Mobile news. All right, so I want to focus first in this story on the T-Mobile news of their tower agreement with American Tower. So American Tower, I mean, what, you got a couple of really huge tower installers across the country. So you got, excuse me, you got American Tower, you got Crown Castle. In agreement with American Tower, over the course of 15 years, T-Mobile is going to be building out their 5G network. We know this is going to be a big part of what they're doing. They've got to integrate the Sprint assets. It's all going to be about 2.5 gigahertz spectrum. It's also going to be about 600 megahertz spectrum too. Fresh off the heels of tower companies sharing concerns to the media that T-Mobile had been moving a little bit slower than they had first initially thought, T-Mobile gets this deal, which is great. That's a good indicator. We like that. The lesser than anticipated moves that they've seen, I think it's been a money issue. That's me speculating. I don't know for a fact. I just think that T-Mobile knows they urgently have to improve their network and get ahead. So why wouldn't they? So if they're not spending right away, then I was just thinking maybe it was some money issues, but just speculation. I can't say for a fact, but what's going on with Metro and what they're doing with commission restructures, it kind of makes sense. But anyways, previously, T-Mobile had a deal with American Tower, and that deal was good through 2021. So this thing was about to expire. So this renews their relationship long term. All indications is that this deal is valued at $17 billion. It's big money. $17 billion. It's over the course of 15 years. So just over about $1 billion per year with this one company, American Tower. They probably, I mean, this in and of itself, American Tower is not going to be the only company. There's no way. They've got to really build out this network. So I think there's also going to be deals with Crown Castle and maybe another installation company. So look for more news on that. But honestly, in 2012, T-Mobile signed a deal with Crown Castle for $2.4 billion. And that was for 7,200 towers. They signed an extension with Crown Castle in 2018 for small cells and 5G preparation, all the stuff we're seeing now, LTE. So I think those are the two installers they're going with moving forward. I think it's going to be Crown Castle, and I think it's going to be American Tower. But to give you guys perspective, just think about this math, okay? Verizon has a deal with Samsung. 5 years, $6.6 billion, right? T-Mobile's got a deal with one company over 15 years. I don't know, what exactly, how this lines up. I know they're different entities. One's installing macro sites and towers. The one's, it's for hardware and stuff like that. But I'm looking at the scale. I don't think that the $17 billion spent in 15 years is a lot for tower sites, because I know T-Mobile's going to be building a lot. They have to. No company has as many gaps in their network as T-Mobile does. They've got native network issues nationally. They're going to be decommissioning Sprint sites, so they're going to have to rebuild new ones in very strategic locations. They're not going to want to do a push in small cells, so they're going to be building a lot of big tower sites and installing on, rooftops and stuff like that. You guys will see, right? But again, I think it's a good deal. I think it's an indication that they're ready to move. I can't wait for them to start the installations. When that day comes, we could celebrate it. This is the deal for now. I'm excited about it. I want to see probably one more deal similar to this one in terms of scale and duration. But here's what I will say. I think Neville's in for the long haul. This is what I was getting to. This deal is for 15 years. This may be how long Neville Rayz is going to be around. Because he said at the Goldman Sachs conference, he said he feels like a burden was lifted off his shoulders because he got this commitment deal, this long-term deal. So that's confidence. I like that he feels good about that, because then he could just focus on the network build. I've got this good company. American Tower is going to be building these sites for me. I can trust the work. I know I got them long term. I don't have anything to worry about. The money's already committed to it. Those are things that Neville is going to feel good about, and he's going to have more confidence in the network build. So, good news. Very, very good news. I'm interested to see if there's going to be another one soon to come, though. I think another deal is very likely. Let's actually talk about the Goldman Sachs conference, which was held today. There's some news coming out of there. Some insight from the executive side. All right, so before I get going with that piece, I do want to say for anybody out there with a T-Mobile branded Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus 5G, the newest update, the newest August security patch is going to give you standalone 5G support. So this is included in the August security patch. So you're getting the security patch, you're getting the 5G standalone upgrade, and then you're getting a location service update, and then there's some other random stuff that gets updated too. So if you have the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus 5G with T-Mobile, and you have got the T-Mobile firmware on there, that update will get you covered. Good. Maybe it'll upgrade your network experience. Yeah, I know, come on, but whatever. All right, let's take a look at this Goldman Sachs story. So, at the conference today, the head honcho of the network chief, Neville Ray, was asked if T-Mobile is going in on any mid-band moving forward. So specifically, he's talking about, CBRS, C-band, these types of auctions that are up and coming. So specifically, it's really C-band because that auction is in December. And that's going to be 280 megahertz of prime 5G spectrum, like amazingly good 5G spectrum, 3.7 gigahertz. When asked about this and what T-Mobile is going to do, he said, quote, "We'll see where we get to. There's a lot of decisions to be made, more to come." Here's what he's saying. He can't comment. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's got too much stuff on his plate. He's actually, I think, being very truthful there. He does not really know. Because there's other things that are more important. The 2.5 gigahertz deployment is critical. Their 600 megahertz is not done. They're trying to widen bands of PCS, band 2 and stuff like that. So there's things that they got to get done that are right in front of him as opposed to down the line. So that's kind of what he was saying there. Mike Cezar, on the other hand, he let me tell you guys about Mike Cezar, the CEO of T-Mobile. I call him Eugene, and there's a reason for that, and I'm going to tell you why. Mike Cezar says, "I think Verizon and AT&T will kill each other over C-band." Who's asking? Nobody asked him about Verizon or AT&T. They asked him about if he wants to get on C-band. Firewolf Studios, thanks for the super chat, man. Will Metro sue T-Mobile for poaching customers? We'll talk about that before we leave. Let me wrap up this topic, though. I will get back to you, buddy. Thank you. Nobody asked about Verizon or AT&T. He started talking about Verizon and AT&T. He's trying to be John, and it's really getting cringe. Mike Cezar's not John. He'll never be John. Nobody will ever be John. Everybody should be their own person. I mean, that just goes without saying. But it's gotten absolutely ridiculous. Eugene, a.k.a. Mike Cezar, it's gotten to the point where, I'm convinced. I mean, he's super geek, right? He's little sweater vest. He's little gray cardigan. He's sweaty armpits because he's uptight and nervous all the time. He should just stop. This whole thing has to stop. This is madness. He needs to stop trying to be John Legere. There will never be another John Legere. John Legere is the uncarrier, was the uncarrier. That stuff is done. Mike Cezar's an uptight corporate Eugene. He comes into the room, "Hey, how are ya?" That's him. And that's okay. That's him. Be that. Be who you are. But you're trying to be you're trying to be like John Legere Jr. Come on, man. That's not what you're doing. You're coming in here talking about AT&T and Verizon. It's not relevant. That's what John used to do. John's gone. Honestly, I'm really starting to worry about Mike Cezar. I think he's having an identity crisis. Sweaty armpits, nervous all the time. If he backed up into a wall of bricks, he'd probably suck a cherry out between his cheeks, honestly. Oh, man. He's captain of the chess club. He's awkward socially. He's the non-social weirdo kind of nerd. He's Eugene, pocket protectors. And that's okay. Geeks and nerds have their place in society, and we're cool with that. But you're not John, dude. That stuff has to stop. Anyways, he said, Verizon and AT&T are going to spend tens of billions. It's going to cause stress to their balance sheet. Maybe true, maybe not. Who knows? Whatever. He did mention that T-Mobile was interested in C-band, but in my opinion, it's probably just going to be to drive the price up. They'll bid on those auctions, but I don't think they're going to leave with much. They might address some of the larger counties. They might address some of the bigger markets, that sort of thing. So New York City, Philly, Boston, Houston, the bigger counties like LA, Cook County with Chicago, that type of stuff. But that's probably it. I don't think they're going to do much outside of that. Mike Sievert went on to say, we are interested but disciplined, aka we're broke. It's true. I really believe that. I think there's money issues. They're a small carrier that became a big carrier, and there's going to be pains to that, financial pains too, right? They're treading new waters, deep waters they've never been in before. So being careful makes total sense. But in reality, they're broke. And that's what that means. He said, we are coming from a position of strength. We're only concerned with value. They're not going to spend big money at C-band. That's pretty much it. Yeah, they used to throw the ball at his head in Foursquare. You know what I mean? Sievert did concede, and this is actually the interesting part. He did concede that T-Mobile was in a similar position earlier in the decade, right? Like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, or 2010 to 2015. He spoke about how they kind of sat out parts of AWS till the very end. Same thing with 600 megahertz. It's true. They waited for the value because they were a smaller carrier. That makes sense, right? So, in my opinion, they're probably going to do the same thing with C-band. They'll get some, but it's going to be towards the tail end when all the really important markets are already auctioned for big dollars. So I think it's going to be the same situation here. Mike Sievert actually said something honest, and I was really proud of him for doing it. I was proud of Eugene. He conceded that Verizon and AT&T won 4G and LTE, and that's true. There's nothing really to argue there. Verizon and AT&T have larger LTE networks, and they have faster networks. They're better when it comes to 4G LTE. They're better. Now, 5G could play out different. Mike is saying basically we're in a position of power. We got all this 2.5 gigahertz, tons of it. It's true. So they got to execute that plan. But then he followed up with something untruthful. So you see, he made a liar sandwich. He said something untruthful, something truthful, and then he followed up with something untruthful again. He said, they are going to try to copy us. So here's the thing. AT&T is not copying T-Mobile's network plans. Verizon is not copying T-Mobile's network plans. Each of those companies is in a different place. They cannot copy each other. One company has heavy debt in AT&T. They also have tons of revenue streams. Their situation is different than T-Mobile's. Verizon is in a position of power when it comes to current network performance. So to me, the power is with Verizon. You could make an argument that T-Mobile has a spectrum advantage, but that's going to require a lot of tower site building, which Verizon already has in spades. So I'm circling back to this idea that none of the carriers are in the same place. They're in totally different situations with different spending and CapEx. Their network plans are going to end up the same. That's what people don't understand. Everybody wants to make a big deal about which carrier is doing what, like who's focusing on millimeter wave and who's focusing on low band and who's focusing on mid band. The end game is the same. It's which spectrum do you have right now that you are able to deploy right now. So Verizon is deploying millimeter wave as their 5G because that's what they have available to them now. T-Mobile's going to focus on low band because that's what they have now. And they have 2.5 gigahertz now. You see, it's what you have in front of you. It doesn't make sense to try to build out something you don't have. Why would Verizon be focusing on mid-band they can't have, right? They have to wait for auctions. When those auctions become available, then they'll start building out mid-band. So they're building out millimeter wave in the current term. But this is what I just don't understand. The liar sandwich. He said something truthful in between two things that were untruthful. So nobody's copying T-Mobile's network build out, right? That's just not the case. If every company was copying T-Mobile's network build out, we'd have 3 holy moly networks nationwide, right? There'd be coverage gaps. So it's definitely not true. T-Mobile is gonna stray away from small cells. Verizon's not doing that. They're gonna go heavy with small cells. They're gonna put small cells everywhere they can, everywhere cities let them. I know, Chucky. Thanks for the super chat. Liar sandwich. That's basic marketing strategy. Yeah, that might be true. Ronald, thanks for the super chat. Let's get to 400. Share the live stream. That would be amazing. Thank you. That would be awesome. And I'm not calling T-Mobile's network Swiss cheese to make fun of them. It's an analogy. It's a joke. You know, I'm teasing the fact that they have work to do. That's true, right? I have the service. I use it, right? I know. It's not perfect. There's stuff that they're going to be working on, and we want to see it. And we're happy to see it when it does happen. It's going to take a lot of network spending, though. See, what Mike didn't address was the CapEx increase that was going to be required. He didn't mention anything about that. He didn't mention how they were going to have to increase their CapEx to double. You know, if T-Mobile ends up spending $9 or $10 billion this year or this upcoming year on CapEx, he's going to be 50% of what Verizon is doing. He's going to be 50% of what AT&T is doing. So the CapEx has to come up. It's just not going to work, right? They're always going to be playing from behind. So, yeah, you know, a spade is a spade. I agree. Come on. I do agree. A spade is a spade. You got to call it like it is. And I think we just can't expect, you know, network executives to do that for us, right? So we got to sift through all that stuff, man. We definitely do. That wraps up the audio-only version of the podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you all on the next show. All right, so now back to the YouTube side. I'm just going to focus on you guys because you guys are amazing, and you guys are riding with the SMT. I don't know. What do you guys have to say? You know, I'm reading your comments. I'm looking. You know, what do you guys? How do you take the words of Neville Ray and the words of Mike Sievert? Do you take them to heart? Do you think they're very truthful? Again, I think it's called the liar sandwich. You know, they tell you what they want you to know. They tell you what they think you should know. You know, they're going to hide certain things from you, and they'll let you know certain things, right? So, Mikey Tech Reviews, appreciate the super chat, man. Just got the notification. Oh, man. You got to get the tweets, man. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, at least do that. I do some nice tweeting, right? It's fun, you know? So I do some tweeting, and then also I tweet out whenever I go live or I upload videos. So, you know, check me out on Twitter. No radio. I think you hit it right on the head, man. I just want them to shut up and build. Hey, Firewolf Studios, ask me your question again. I think it was a question about Metro. Yeah, ask again because I forgot what it was about specifically. Chucky Riggs, appreciate the super chat. Instead of layer cake, they need the liar cake. It's the liar sandwich. It's 2 pieces of lies with a thin piece of truth in the middle. Oh, man. T-Mobile has more coverage in Mike's sweater vest than the whole network itself. Oh, man, that's funny, bro. That is funny. Good stuff. Oh, man. All carriers are deploying so far. Words are just words. You got to put the money with the words to make everything work out. Totally agree, Jarrett. Keon says he's being deceptive. Yeah, he's being coy. You know, he's doing his thing. Not one bit of magenta on that sweater. Nice. What's up, my daily side? Good to see you. Max Tech Studios, good to see you as well. Austin, good to see you. I believe Neville Ray. The others, yeah, I agree, man. I've warmed up to Neville. I think deep down, and I think his team works really hard. I think the marketing team forces them to write checks that they can't cash at times. So, oh man. Tim R says this is why I like Verizon. They didn't make tons of promises and struggle to fulfill them. They go quietly in the background and then say, "Hey, look what we did," and it's done. Yeah, I like that approach better because, you know, you put a target on your back when you announce everything and say things that aren't really happening yet, you know. So, I mean, it's one thing to get excited about your network and the build out and stuff, and that's fine. But, you know, you have to temper things, and you don't want a target on your back. And I think that's what T-Mobile has done. I think they have unnecessarily put a target on their back by being loud and over-marketing and over-hyping a lot of things that they still have yet to really fulfill. That's in my personal opinion. Maybe you don't feel as strongly about it as I do, but that's how I see it. Info Assistant said T-Mobile is just used to announcing everything. They won't change that. Yeah, man, it's become their way, right? So, yeah, I totally agree. All right, I think what I'll do is I'm going to wrap it up there. I do want to thank you all for being here and watching. Please, please, please like this video, share this video, all of your, you know, socials. That would be amazing. You know, thank you for doing that. Actually, before we get to doing anything, let me go ahead and let you guys know what's going on with the channel. For those of you that are new, for those of you, maybe this is your first time here or you've been lurking, please make sure that you subscribe. All right, so all you got to do is hit the subscribe button, activate that bell notification icon. All right, for those of you that were here, thank you for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed the show. I always try to bring my A game. I always try to do my best. If you appreciate that, give this video a like. Comment as well if you would like. Maybe you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay crew. Maybe you're watching this in the live, hashtag 2live crew. Maybe you're watching this and you're hungry, or you're eating while you're watching this, hashtag ravioli gang. And to all my blue names, the wrenches, hashtag mod squad, Forum Voltron. You guys are the best. Thank you for holding it down for me. All right, so now that you're subscribed and you want more from the SMT, check out the Patreon page. We got a link in the description box. Become a member, get exclusive videos, early access to videos, exclusive podcasts, and so on. It really is a nice and a growing community. And we got the Twitter handle at SneedTech. We got all the audio-only podcasts there as well. Check all that stuff down there. There's ways to donate, the whole shebang. Thank you guys so much for all the super chats. Thank you to everybody who was here tonight. And that pretty much wraps it up. You guys are amazing. You're the best part of the nation. SMT Nation, stand up. Hope to see you soon on the next show. And peace. Yeah.